are now clinched up, you can't get out, I hassle you. Subscribe to the channel for Muay Thai latest news. Jesse on the podcast, you know how he about to do. A student of the game, yeah, probably is to say to you. Break down the whole fight, end every combo too. Stand up on the ground, in the cage, MMA. Catch the fade anytime, any day. Yeah, you are now tuned in to Clinched Up with Jesse the Hassle D.
That's more scary. Being able to control where I put my strikes and show that I can hit you, but I'm choosing mercy. That's where real skill is.
If you are new to Clinched Up, this is a Muay Thai podcast, American Muay Thai podcast. I also talk about other crazy stuff, whatever just hits my head. But I always have on, not always, sometimes have on American Muay Thai guests. And yeah, so if you're new, go ahead and subscribe, like. If you haven't yet, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If you are Apple Podcast listener, leave a comment down below when you listen, guys. It does help out the algorithm. Give us a like, give us a share, give us an ad on Instagram. Jesse the Hassle Diaz on Instagram. Can't thank you guys enough. But thank you guys for coming today. If you're at work or if you're at the gym, hitting the bag, go hard. I can't. I was gonna motivate you and tell you go harder, but sorry, can't do that right now. I'm not that hyped up. I just had a long day. You guys, a lot goes into everything I'm doing, even though it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. You know, it's this morning I woke up, went to go have a meeting with my coach who's helping me create my business, create what I'm doing. I'm trying to create a production business, right? I want to become a producer of podcasts, a producer of shows, you know, and everything we do from our house, produce stuff basically. And I have a show called The Hassle of Hair. I interview inspiring people going after their passions. A lot of people that quit their jobs and their stories of why they quit their jobs and why they're going after their passions, how they got to where they are being successful or trying to be successful. But I also do that show, which I got some amazing guests coming up. Just need to get them scheduled. And then my wife, she has her Raquel design, so she makes a bunch of stuff for people. Not really sure what she does. You know, not really sure what she does. I just know that people pay her to do stuff. You know, arts and crafts, stuff I was never good at. And I also have a podcast with my teammate, Nashi Ramirez. She's a fighter, tattoo artist. It's called The Happy Dagger. If you guys haven't listened to them, if you can, go listen to them if you want, you know? And that's what I'm doing. Like, that's, other than the gym, other than coaching, other than training, like, that's what I do. Right? And it's so this morning I went to go have a meeting with Coach. She's helping me out. And then right after that, I went home and started working on Nashi's podcast and trying to get. I was not asleep. My wife just said, "Liar, no, you were asleep." No. I went home. I went to go work on Nashi's podcast, Happy Dagger. And then I went to go hold for a new student, a new fighter, or a person that wants to fight. He's a wrestler, a high school wrestler who ended up not wanting so far. You know, those seniors during COVID, it kind of sucked for them. You know, it changed a lot of seniors' lives, the ones that graduated 2020. Like you have all this coming up, right? You're about to graduate. You're going to school. This is your last year for sports. Maybe you'll get a scholarship. Maybe you won't. You know, or it just changes your view on life. It changed a lot of our views on life. But can you imagine being a senior and then going into the real world the year of the pandemic? Like it was crazy for me during 2008. I graduated 2008, and it was not the economy. Well, kind of, right? The housing market just crashed. I don't know if you guys remember, but 2008, there was no jobs at all. Like, so you're trying to go to school and you're trying to find a job, something to do, and there's no jobs. Like, I couldn't even, like, it was so hard to get a job, like fast food. that whole 2008. I mean, 2019 hit, it got better, but right out of the high school, like it was just that hit. So I think the graduating the year of the pandemic is even harder, right? But seeing this 19-year-old kid who from what I know, he was a stud wrestler, right? And he wants to fight and he wants to train and he wants to learn Muay Thai, and I'm helping him out and showing him some stuff. So I after I worked on Nashi's podcast, I came home and I went to the gym and worked with them on the pads and made him do sprints, and then I got home and Nashi decided that she wanted to do a podcast. We scheduled, and she didn't decide. We scheduled her podcast to be done at night, and we did it and got that going, and now I'm doing my podcast. So it's a long day, you know? Like Sundays are long for me. And it's sometimes it feels like, man, am I growing? Is it getting better? And yes, I'm getting better. I hope I'm getting better. It's fun to do. Like I do this on my spare time. I do this on my off time. Like it's a hobby that turned into a business. But yeah. But other than that, I've been off I haven't podcasted in about 2 weeks, but it's been a fun ride these last 2 weeks. My sister fought in LA. She had lost a split decision, and this is her third loss in a row, but she's way better than her record. And it's hard after 3 losses in a row. It's hard to convince somebody that they're better than the record. You know, my sister's first fight was a 3-day notice title fight. Her first fight at all. Again, first amateur fight at all. And then she fought A class at the TBA tournament. And she ended up losing decision for that. So she lost decision in her first fight, decision in the second one. Then she loses a split decision in LA. She's a lot better than her record. And it's hard to convince somebody of that, especially when it's your sister. You know, but she'll find it. I think she's going to be. You're gonna hear my sister's name in lights. Or see my sister's name in lights one day. I believe that. And other than that, the gym has been thriving. What my coach has done, Coach Amber, what she has done in Los Baños, California, we're a farm town. What she's been able to do in this city where Muay Thai is unheard of, creating a Muay Thai community. I was sitting down thinking about it. It's incredible. She made it a Muay Thai community in a place where even MMA gyms can't even thrive, can't even be successful, because there's been multiple that opened up and they had to close down. You know, partly it's because she's business minded. And then she's a really good coach. I've been saying it, best striking coach in Central Valley. And we'll see where that goes. But we're growing. More people are coming. And we're getting more athletes. Like our wrestling coach just went to the Coffee Crew. So the Coffee Crew is a jiu-jitsu Sunday open mat. I was supposed to go, but I had a meeting with Coach. And the wrestling coach got to go, and Coach Jose got to go train with the Coffee Crew. You know, for me, that's big. You're connecting, student Raphael connected Coach Jose to Coffee Crew. That's huge. That's awesome. Like the Muay Thai community and the martial art community in Los Baños is growing. Like if we just stick with it, what will this be in 10 years? You know? And you got to understand, what I'm learning about growing a martial arts gym and seeing coaching and learning like on how to coach and what makes a successful coach and what makes a bad coach, you know. And one of the key elements is being passionate about it, right? Giving it your all. Because everybody's been to that one gym where the owner and the coach just doesn't care. And there's a reason why you don't have a thriving gym. Like they're not all in. Like it's the same thing. If you're fighting and you're not all in, you could get hurt or things could happen that are not good. You know, same thing with coaching or opening up a business. If you're not all in, then you're not going to thrive. And if you have to coach and you're all in, I'm being an assistant coach, and it's tough, right? Like I get to see what my coach goes through and what as a business owner goes through. Like it's 7 days a week, and then having to be behind these fighters and then be there for them mentally, physically. Like you're giving up a lot, you know. And good coaches are passionate. They have to love it. And it's why you go to some of these gyms where they're not thriving because they may be a good ex-fighter. Like they could have been a retired fighter. They're great fighters. And they're not good coaches because sometimes they're just not passionate about it, about teaching others, about the process of teaching others, right? Because you could be selfish and do the process for yourself, great. Go through the process for yourself, great. But helping others go through that process, that takes a different kind of person. And talking to multiple coaches on this show, on my Hassle of Hair show, and learning that it's true. Like my coach was an amateur champion. She never went pro, but she's a good coach. And I don't know if I'll ever be a good coach, like a great coach one day, but I do want to be a good coach. And learning from her and learning from all these other coaches and seeing what it takes. And it's just about being there. Sometimes it's just about being there. You know? Like me going through my martial arts journey, living in a town that had nothing, no martial arts. I had to drive all over the place. I always wished like there was someone just to open up the doors of a gym here, like right next to me. And now there is. In Los Baños, California, there's Strike Fitness. There is. Where people could go and train. And people are learning of that. It makes a difference. You know? And the one thing you learn from martial arts is that to be like, you see all these people on social media try to be motivational with just words, you know, and try to just be somebody without even doing anything, you know, motivational speakers, all that stuff with hardly doing anything. And one thing that martial arts teaches, especially in the sparring room, especially when you fight, what's real and what's fake. The truth is always told when you're in the ring or when you're sparring. Like the truth is always told through martial arts. Like there's no greater lesson than being held accountable of your practice, of you like learning something and then having to practice it through combat or through competition. Like what works, what doesn't work. You know, a lot of people, and I think I've said it before on my Instagram, that there's a lot of martial artists or a lot of martial arts that teach but don't ever test their skill. Don't ever go to battle with their student or by themselves, and they don't test their skill. It's the same thing as like motivational speakers. They'll speak and they'll be something, and and they'll say something to guide somebody, but not put it to practice. Not really do anything but speak. It's the same thing with martial arts, and that's what martial arts kind of like. It kind of shows you. It shows you like what's real, what's fake, and who you could trust, who you can't trust. Like, there's so many lessons in martial arts. I'm just happy to be part of this gym, guys. I'm just happy to be part of Strike. It's I get my job. My job is to be around motivated people all day. You know, you're going to a gym because you're motivated, not because you're not motivated, right? Or you want to be motivated. You know, and it's that we don't learn by self-help or voice or quotes. We don't learn like that. We learn through failing and through trial and error. That's how you learn. You know, and not being afraid of all that, not being afraid to learn, not being afraid to lose or fail, and you learn all these things through martial arts. I'm super passionate about it. Because growing up, no one really told me to fail, you know, to go out and put yourself, to be vulnerable. It was always do this, and you'll get this, right? Not that many people were around me that really put themselves in vulnerable places and went after it all. I've learned that through martial arts. So if it's right next to you, go find a martial arts gym. If you're from Los Baños and you're listening, there is Strike Fitness in Los Baños, guys. Go check it out. We're doing an awesome job. And I love my job. I love my life. It's gotten so much better through the years, through Muay Thai. And again, I'll say that this podcast is not about me trying to teach you about Muay Thai and teach you about the ways of Muay Thai and that I'm an expert. That's not what I'm doing. I'm telling you, hey, come with me as I learn about Muay Thai. I talk to all these guests that are really well known in the sport, and I get to learn about their views on Muay Thai and what I could do better, and or just different techniques and the story of Muay Thai, and just I'm learning with you guys. And I'm going to have guests on again. I just recently had Eddie Abasolo, who's fighting in MMA. Maybe 3 days afterwards, he announced that he was fighting MMA. Fighting on the Bellator. The main event is going to be Phil Davis and Yoel Romero. And that's huge, right? It's Eddie Abasolo in MMA. Like, that's freaking huge. Like, you've seen Gaston do it, and just doing it at that level, it's insane. Just putting yourself out there and talking about being vulnerable and being able to go after it all. It's a different sport. You got to take your hats off to Gaston Bolanos and Eddie Abasolo once Eddie Abasolo steps into that cage for even trying it, no matter how far they get in it. You know, and that fight's they haven't announced his opponent yet, but it's Saturday, September 18th on Bellator, SAP Center, San Jose. Might be able to go to that. I do like watching it from home. But yeah, that's Phil Davis and Yoel Romero. Can't wait to see who he's fighting. It all depends on who he's fighting, right? Eddie Abasolo in small gloves. But that was one announcement. That I was like, man, I was crossing my fingers trying to get out of him that he was going to fight MMA, but he saved it. He saved it, you know. And then another former guest, Jackie Bouton. She's going to be fighting on the One Championship Empower. You know, I think they're calling it Empower. I'm assuming they're calling it Empower because it's all women. The main event Jingnan versus Nicolini, the strawweight world championship, the MMA world championship. Then you got a bunch of other women on that card. All women. Stat Fairtex fights on that card. You know? Jackie Bouton, she goes 3-0 in her first 3 fights if she wins this fight. She's fighting Daniela Lopez. Very lengthy fighter, aggressive. I think Jackie Bouton knocks her out. I'm hoping. From the fights I've watched of Daniela, she's pretty good. Actually, really good. And she's from Argentina. I think I don't know until they stand next to each other, but I believe she's way taller than Jackie Bouton. But I think Jackie Bouton knocks her out. All the Boxing Works girls, like Janet Todd and then Jackie Bouton, and then even watching the Kaya, the amateur that I watched at TBA's. Like Jackie Bouton and Kaya fight similar. Same body type and just very powerful. And they had this strength and conditioning coach who's super, like, watching there's a fight, amateur fighter named Kaya on Fire on Instagram, guys. CAAAONFIWA. She's on Instagram. But they had this strength and conditioning coach who's always putting her and Jackie Bouton through these workouts. Where recently they've been posting them fighting with the big blow up doll, not blow up dolls, with the yoga balls, and they're trying to push each other out of a circle, which is fun. I was even thinking of having the kids do it this week, at Strike Fitness. But they also I've been wanting to, like, the ideas I'm getting from the strength and conditioning coach that they do. And having the kids or the adults do, they had this trampoline where they throw, and I know I didn't just see it from them, but it just reminded me. But it's a trampoline you throw the medicine ball at, and it comes right back at you. Well, I'm thinking, you think of trampoline, not that much money. You know that you could throw a medicine ball and it comes back. What are you thinking, like $100, $150? Me and my wife looked it up. It's like $450 for this trampoline. And I'm like, my heart broke. So I'm on the search for a trampoline where you could throw a medicine ball at. Let me know. Let me know if you have one. But all those girls at Boxing Works, incredible fighters. Like, huge fans of them. And like, I do want to go down there and train. But I do live in Los Baños and I'm always busy. So we'll see what happens. So I've been talking about it, and I'm going to take a vacation in February, somewhere around February. My wife wants to go to Hawaii, but it'd be cool, and I know it's going to have to be another week because that February week's going to be for my family, but it'd be cool is just to take a week and just go to 7 different gyms in 7 different days. And just go train. Go see the different mindsets. That's what's so cool about martial arts and MMA and Muay Thai and any martial art, right? You go to these different gyms, they all have different mindsets. They have different styles, right? And just seeing them would be cool. And someone told me, why don't you do like a video for all, like vlog it all? I don't know. I kind of just want to be in the moment and just be there and not having to video it and constantly like record while I'm doing it. I just want to do it. Just go experience it. That'd be so cool. Like, what gyms would I go to? I don't know. But that's one thing I love doing is reading. If you guys listen, if you're listening to a podcast, you probably listen to audibles. And when I listen to audibles, I kind of like go in these different moods, right? Like one month or 2 months, I'll be into horror books, or I'll come into age books, or dramas or mysteries. And then there was like a good year what I was just listening to coaches. And this is before I even started fighting. For some reason, the coach's mind, I've always loved a coach's mind. How these coaches think different. And how some of them are stern and some of them are aggressive, like with how they teach. And then some of them are like, you're laid back, different styles, like completely different styles. One of my favorite coaches is Nick Saban. Like, listen to his autobiography or biography, right? Someone wrote it for him, biography. Listen to it, and it's like he played, and then ended up going on a journey of coaching under coaches and going through it, being an assistant coach and just going through this journey of coaching. And he's learning all these things. And when he got to being a head coach, he had his style from just listening to all these coaches. And he needed everything perfect. Everything perfect. When it came to the little stuff had to be perfect. You know, and the game didn't have to be perfect. The outcome didn't have to be perfect. But the little things that are fixable had to be perfect. Like, and we're talking about football right now. Nick Saban's the Alabama coach for football. Sorry if you're not a football fan or college football or don't even know who Nick Saban is. But when it came to the route running and where they had to be when they're cutting their routes or when they're running their route, when a wide receiver, the guy who catches the ball, if you don't listen to football, if the guy who catches the ball from the quarterback, the guy who throws the ball, when you're running your route, right? When you're going out for the pass, your feet had to be the same every single time for that one specific route by like half a yard. If you were half a foot off or a foot off, then he would lose his shit. Like, and I think that's what fighting is. Like, the outcome doesn't have to be perfect. The fight doesn't have to be perfect. But the little stuff, how you throw your cross, how you throw your kick, how you frame up in the clinch, like all that stuff, all that little stuff has to be perfect. Now, if you agree, comment below. If you don't agree, comment, message me, tell me. But all that little stuff has to be perfect, right? The person in front of you might be better than you, might be able to read you better. But when it comes to the little stuff that you can have right every single time, like that stuff has to be perfect. That's why I love breaking down a cross, like how to throw it. Boom, boom, boom. And what's the first thing that people do when they're like a musclehead or someone that's strong? They want to push. They want to boom and push, right? And throw all the weight into it. Or when they're throwing the cross, I like to call it throwing the baseball. Because it's like they're throwing the cross like they're throwing a baseball and their back foot leaves the floor. When you pitch a ball, you let your whole momentum go forward and the leg leaves the mound. Your rear leg leaves the mound. And when you're throwing that cross, your rear leg leaves the floor. And that's how you, like, when somebody walks in the doors, they always throw like that from the get-go. And then you get to teach them, no, you gotta put your foot down. You have to plant it. I mean, you have to have your foot on the floor. You have to pivot it. You have to drop your knee. You have to be connected. And then telling them that you're not supposed to be tense. Like, don't be tense. Don't be tense. Like, and then they start to become loose and they throw it and they snap it like a whip. And they hear that crack. Like, those are the moments. That's why I love coaching. Their eyes light up. It's like they could hear it, they could feel it. It feels different. Those parts of coaching are fun, right? And I'm not in my stage of coaching of coaching champion fighters or really great fighters, but I'm coaching kids. I'm coaching teenagers. I'm coaching adults on the basics of Muay Thai. And if there's one thing that I am comfortable doing, is it's teaching the basics. And the basics wins fights. But like being able to, when somebody walks in the doors and teaching them on how to not do all these things and slowly breaking it down, it's a fun thing, and I've fallen in love with it. At first, when Coach told me, she's like, "You're gonna help me out, be my assistant coach, and learn and fight at the same time." Like I was like, "Oh man, this is gonna be a lot of work." My first day at Strike Fitness, where she told me, "Hey, I want you to help me out with the kids class." She gave me this kid that was on the spectrum a little bit and was all over the place, was mentally not there, and wasn't like, I've never dealt with a kid on the spectrum. I've never dealt with anything like that. And my first intro to teaching was that. And I was scared. I went home and I was like, I don't know if I could do this. And then ever since then, every day I've been teaching, I've been coaching, and I've been training. And it's like, it's fun. I love this. And if you want to do this, you have to have passion. And I love this. I love being able to do this. I just right now, my mind just went numb, and I just forgot everything I said. Like, I just blanked out right now. I don't know what I rambled on about, but I love this. I love Muay Thai. Like, you guys are on this journey with me of learning it, and I'm never going to stop learning. And today we don't got a guest, guys. So soon I won't be rambling so much. But I took my daughter to the mall this weekend. We had a father-daughter day, and I got to just be with her. Like, when I'm doing these podcasts, when I'm doing this training for Muay Thai, and then coaching Muay Thai, helping out the gym, like doing all that, like, I'm motivated and I'm constantly doing things. You forget to just be in the moment and to be with your family, and it's hard sometimes. So I told my daughter, she wanted to go to the football game for the high school by herself. So I made a deal with her. You go to that, and you have to go with me to go eat, to go sit down and eat with me and hang out with me for a day. She agreed, and she's 15 years old, and you got to understand, she's a totally, completely different person when she was a little kid. She's before she wanted to ask me everything. She wanted to know about everything. She questioned everything. But now that she's 15, she knows everything. Right? There's no more questions. It's all about what Eva knows and other people are wrong. I said her name. I'm going to blank that up. But it's she knows everything. And I miss the times when she didn't know everything. But then I just shut up. For that whole entire trip, I just shut my mouth and just listened to her. Gave her a chance to be herself. And in the first 5 minutes, she was just quiet. She was just she just was just not having it. She just wanted to be home, first 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes into longer than 5 minutes, first 10, 20 minutes. And then we're driving out, and finally something just changed. She just started talking, and I just started listening. And going on that trip with her for the whole day, just me and her, and me just listening to her. Like, she just, she's on the verge of going from I know everything to questioning the world again. And it reminded me of that moment when I was a kid, when I was a teenager. And you think you know everything, and then you turn 20, 21, 22, 23, and you start to realize like, holy shit, there's so much I don't know. And some people don't even go through that because they're never humbled. They're never humbled. And I'm lucky that my daughter is very humble. Speaking her to or actually listening to her this weekend and listening to how she is, she's a humble girl. And I'm happy for that. It makes me feel like I'm doing something right? I don't know. It's just like sometimes you don't know if you're parenting right. Sometimes you don't know if you're doing things right. And I can't teach her through martial arts. My daughter has cochlear implants, so it's kind of hard. I'm teaching all these other people through martial arts, and the one person that's I'm trying to raise and be and show her my ways. I can't teach her through the ways that I know, because she can't take contact. She can't take contact to the head because they put magnets in her skull, and her taking contact would fuck shit up, So I have to teach her through other ways. She does cross country and softball, and even sometimes softball is scary if she get hit by the ball. If she would get hit by the ball, and it's. I'm learning a lot through her. And honestly, it's helping me with coaching. It's helping me with working at the gym. Being able to be patient with her, and she's getting older. She's not the little baby girl anymore. But this is a Muay Thai podcast, and I need to stop talking about all that shit. My bad, guys. Like I said, that the news was that Eddie Abasolo is fighting for Bellator and Jackie Bouton is fighting for one championship on Empower. Then we had a fight card this weekend, which I didn't watch, but I saw that Jake Peacock won. The Canadian, the guy with half an arm, is on a 3-fight winning streak. Just defeated Federico Alfaro. It says injury, TKO. And he wins the super welterweight title. You guys, I can't even be a good fighter with both my arms, and this dude is winning with half an arm. That's insane. Really insane. Lion Fight 68. Amy Perini versus Laura Fernandez. Amy won by split decision. Jake Peacock won by TKO. Jarena Bars defeated Claire Clements by unanimous decision and won the world welterweight title, women's world welterweight title. Amy won the super flyweight title. So that was, I need to sit down and watch that card. Have been able to. I've been busy with the gym, busy with all that other stuff that I've been doing in my life. But, so, other news. The one and only, the Merca Bazooka Joe, sadly is not going to be fighting on Lion Fight 69 because Warren Thompson will be fighting Stephen Walker. Drop down and wait to take over for the Lyndon Knowles, because he will be fighting. So it was scheduled to be it was scheduled to be Lyndon Knowles versus Stephen Thompson. And then it was Warren Thompson versus Bazooka Joe. Lyndon Knowles had to pull out for some reason. I don't know why. He did fight not that long ago in July. And I didn't see anything on Instagram, or I need to look it up, but had to pull out. Warren Thompson took over, and Bazooka Joe was out of a fight. Bazooka Joe did say that he will not be taking the guy that they offered him, which you don't have to. But it's a bummer, because it's like that card was stacked. The main event's still stacked. Still an awesome card. And I just really wanted to see Bazooka Joe fight. If you guys never watched Bazooka Joe, just look him up. Joe Stripling, look him up on YouTube. His fights are awesome. But Warren Thompson will be fighting Steve Walker, and it's a super cruiserweight title. Wish they could have gave Bazooka Joe that title, but it's all right. Still good card. Still in Boston. I was even thinking about flying out there. Me and my wife were about to go out there, but who knows? But yeah. But you guys, I will be having guests on soon. There are good guests I will be having I'm in contact with. I need to get them on. Having guests is a beast. And if you guys know of any people that want to be on, let me know. I'll try to get them on. There are people that wanted to be on. I haven't been able to reach out to them. Been pretty busy with other things. I'm going to be doing my Hassle of Hair podcast, coming up with guests. I'm doing Nashi Ramirez's podcast, Happy Dagger podcast. That coming out with stuff right there. But it's American Muay Thai. I love Muay Thai, guys. I love what it does for my community. If you guys have a chance to go to Muay, if you guys have the chance to go train in Muay Thai and be at a Muay Thai gym, go do it. During COVID, during the pandemic, martial arts took a hit. A lot of gyms closed down. So if you have the chance to go train and better your life, go do it. I'm telling you, you won't regret it. It's one of the funnest things that I've ever done in my life. And it's not even, the fighting wasn't even the funnest. It was the training with other people and meeting all these people. I met so many people in my life because of martial arts. And it's fun. So go find a Muay Thai gym, guys. Go check out, he's not really a sponsor. He's just a guy that does great personal training that I want to promote. It's Adaptive Sessions. And if you guys see my Instagram, I actually was an idiot and decided to put a sticker on a public, I won't say it was public place. I was basically committing a crime on my Instagram and decided to post it. And then I forgot that some of the Los Baños PD follow me on Instagram and started making fun of me. Why would I record my own crime? I was putting the Adaptive Session sticker on a pole. Nothing too crazy, but I thought it was funny. But Adaptive Sessions, go check them out. Adaptive Sessions on Instagram, guys. It'll be in the link below. You guys, I love you guys. Thank you guys for listening. Subscribe, like, share. If you're a new listener, I will be having guests. Go check out the Kevin Ross episode or the Jackie Bouton episode or even the Bazooka Joe episode. I have all these guests. Make sure if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to this podcast on Apple Podcasts, please leave a review, leave a comment, leave whatever. Just whatever, guys. Whatever you guys want to do. I love you guys. Reach out. Have a great week. Enjoy your week. Jackie Bouton, One Championship in Power. Eddie Abasolo on Bellator. September. Come on, just come on. September 18th. Phil Davis versus Yoel Romero. Check him out. Support him. I love you guys. American Muay Thai all the way. Have a great week. Peace.